Welcome to today's episode. I'm Gabriella and I am joined with my gorgeous girlfriend Cam.
Hi guys.
And we are back to answer more of your advice questions. Do you have anything to tell the listeners this week?
Gabby leaves Nashville tomorrow and I'm sad about it.
Oh, so this is going to be a potentially sad episode, although it's not, because you've been through the questions already and you said that it should be quite light-hearted, so that's exciting.
I mean, I say that, but then I'm like what could be in there?
Okay.
Who could even know?
Interesting. I never read through the questions before we start because if you want a little bit of behind the scenes, I used to do that and I used to think about my answers before we started, but I ended up feeling like I was like reading a script because I'd already thought about it in my head. So nowadays I just go in blind and whatever comes to me is what I say and I feel much more myself and hopefully you guys can tell.
I read through the questions first, though, and do a little research and plot out my answers. So you get kind of both. You get off the cuff and you get researched.
Yeah, and I hope you like it. But let's jump into question 1. My friend is getting married and has asked me to be maid of honor, but myself and all of her bridesmaids dislike her fiancé. What do we do?
Tale as old as time. Classic, age-old, frustrating question. Have you ever been in this situation?
I've been in the situation of not liking my friend's boyfriend, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But I've never been in the situation of them actually getting married to them and me kind of navigating that. But what I will say is your friend has made this decision. You're her friend. You've just got to back her. Just be her maid of honor, which is what she wants you to be. And do the job. Leave her to it unless their fiancé is really genuinely problematic and like you kind of want to get in there and break them up before the wedding, add some spice.
I don't know about adding spice, but I have been in this situation. So one of my best friends from college, we all moved from college to Nashville together. We were all like living together. We had this whole little group of friends and we all went out one night and this douchebag hit on one of our friends.
Ooh.
He hit on friend A. Friend B got set up on a blind date and it was him. And then they started dating. And I thought he was a douchebag the first night we met him. And I thought he was a douchebag forever after that. And like I lived with her at the time and I would hear them fight. And I thought he was like not very fair to her. And he said some misogynistic stuff, which is like, okay, that's just the world, right? But I really didn't like him. And I ended up not going to their wedding. Not because of him though, but just because it was in Iceland.
Why didn't you go to Iceland? That's so fun.
I was like working and I just didn't have the time to take off. And
oh, well, of course, yeah. You don't really get time off in America, do you, in the corporate world?
Yeah. And so while I wish there was some sort of like magic girl power words, like I wish I could sort of say, well, if you and all your friends come together and have a little intervention, it'll go great. And I never did that. I was just like, I think she knew I didn't like him. And she still married him. She was in love with him. And there wasn't really anything I could do about it.
It's her decision at the end of the day. You've just got to be her friend and back her.
If he's not abusive or an absolute scumbag, absolute despicable, bigot or horrible person, if he just like, you don't like the cut of his jib. Do you guys say that in England?
I've never heard that in my life.
Well, if you don't like his vibe, then yeah, I say be there for her and be her friend. That's what maid of honor, best friend duties are. And support her as her friend. Maybe you don't support the couple, but you support her. And this is a big part of her life and a big step she's taking. Support her through that. And then, keep the hangout solo. Do girls' nights. He's not invited. Try and spend time with her without him. But I don't know. If he's really awful and none of you girls like him, then maybe it is time for an intervention. I've never done that.
I would say that's very risky and she could feel very attacked with that. And I would hate for that to happen. Obviously, she's probably very excited and happy to be engaged. And if all of her friends come together all of a sudden and are like, yo, we do not like your fiancé at all, I just think she'll feel attacked and she'll go back to her fiancé and be like, all of my friends said this about me. And he'll be like, well, they're not good friends. I think you should distance yourself. And I don't know. I think that's a good way to lose a friend, honestly.
Yeah. If he's not an evil person, you support her,
Just leave her to it. And if they break up by themselves. If anything happens down the line, maybe you can celebrate then and tell her all the shit things that you didn't like about him if that happens. But I think for now, just keep it to yourself. Just support her through this.
And I'm all for like a little gossip sesh with the other bridesmaids to let off some steam. Like, that could be healing. I mean, obviously don't be hateful or evil or anything, but if you need to let off some steam, get together with the girls, drinks, and just be like, list out every dumb thing he's done and blow off a little steam that way if you need like that outlet.
But I just don't think any of that needs to really be taken to her unless he is a genuinely terrible person. That's a different story, but you didn't say that he's an absolutely horrific scum of the earth person. So I'm just going to say you don't like his vibe. Unfortunately, I just think you've got to be there for your friend. It's her decision in life. Go with the flow.
And if he is like abusive or something heinous, everybody writes a letter, get together with her, you know, we don't support you marrying this guy. Not because we don't like his vibe, but if it's something more serious than that, try an intervention. If he just sucks, I don't think that's really warranted, you know?
Yeah, how would you feel if you found out that every single one of your friends hated your fiancé? Because I know I would feel quite backed up on.
I will say, I know we're like coming out on one side of this, but like just to play the other side for the sake of conversation, if all her friends don't like him, maybe there is something, maybe it's not quite like red flag, like abuser or hateful, awful person, but maybe it's a lot of yellow flags. Like, why don't y'all like him? Is he cruel? Is he rude? Is he, what is he? Because I want to know, just from a gossip standpoint, I'd love to know. But also, what are there yellow flags? Like, is he just annoying, or what are we all seeing that is not good about him?
I think women's intuition is often very good when it comes to these things. However, if you're in love with someone, your women's intuition can look over red flags. So if you and all of your friends are seeing something that she's not seeing, no, I don't know. I just think it's her decision.
It is, but our friends are supposed to step in and help us from making mistakes.
Is there an option to maybe try and bond with him?
Yeah.
If you haven't spent much time with him one-on-one, maybe that's something that you and the girls could do.
Yeah, maybe it's just like a misunderstanding. Like you don't understand him, or you just don't know him well enough. Like maybe he has a certain sense of humor and it's like not landing with y'all, but maybe if you got to know him better, it would land. We kind of need more details, but I think we kind of have to give you this broad answer of, if you're seeing red flags, everybody comes together and says something, and say it kindly and gently. Write your thoughts down. Write the list of frightening or concerning behaviors from him down. And if it's just he's annoying, well, you know, lots of men are annoying. You know, it's just part of life, right? Lots of people are annoying. So just be there for her, support her in her big day, and go for those solo or like girls' night hangs, and just don't invite him.
Yeah, I agree with all of that.
And if you want to send a follow-up, maybe we'll like address it in a petite pod or something and come full circle on this. Because I'm like, I want to know the tea. I'm sorry, I'm nosy.
Me too. I want to know why they all don't like him.
Yeah. Like, do we need to go rescue her? Like, do we need to crash the wedding? Like, stay-at-home girlfriends, pod, and community. We all show up when they say, speak now or forever hold your... Oh my God. And we put on Speak Now by Taylor Swift. We dance down the aisle a la Glee. And we just shut it all down.
That sounds fun to me. Please let us know more details, because I'm kind of down for that now.
Yeah, we'll see you at the wedding.
All in our purple dresses.
Absolutely.
Okay, Cam, do you want to hit us with the next question?
I would love to. I've been with my boyfriend for almost 5 years, long distance for 4 years, but now we have finished university. We both live in the same city again. We've been together for a long time, and I want to move in together and start thinking about the next stages of our relationship. However, he always says he doesn't want that until later in life. I have always felt like I am more invested in the relationship than him, and am always the one planning trips or dates, doing things for us, and thinking about the future. I've tried numerous times to tell him how I feel, like he doesn't put in the same effort I do or want the same future. But he always tells me, we don't need to keep having the same conversations, and we'll be happier if we just enjoy our time together instead of always having serious conversations. We've been together for a long time, and I always thought that this was my forever, but it often makes me sad that I feel like he doesn't feel the same way about me.
First thoughts, get out of that relationship.
Well, I kind of agree. While I'm sort of hesitant, like I'm big on like giving people second chances or like having one last convo, which maybe you need to do. He's not meeting your needs. Like you guys want different things from a relationship. It sounds like he wants like a hangout buddy and like maybe a sex buddy if that's part of y'all's relationship, and you want like a legitimate, committed, monogamous connection moving towards marriage, kids, a future commitment, owning a home together, a dog, whatever. I mean, I don't know what all you want, but it sounds like you want a future that is beyond let's hang out, have some sex, eat some chicken tenders.
Yes to the chicken tenders.
Well, always.
I think for him to not be able to talk about the future after so long together, that is a red flag to me. That is honestly a red flag. It's quite clear that that is important to you, to plan a future together. And if he just like won't even talk about it, and he says he's fed up of having this conversation, what conversation? He's not even been a part of that conversation.
Yeah.
What is he fed up of? He just does not want to answer your question, and that to me is just a huge red flag.
Yeah, I don't love it. I don't love that he says we should just enjoy our time together. Like, sure, but I have a life. I being the listener, you could say to him, I have a life. I have plans for the future. Like, yeah, I enjoy my time with you, but I have needs. I have goals. I have expectations. If you have no intention of meeting them, we need to break up. I really don't like that he's like sort of brushing you off. This is a serious conversation. You guys have been together for half a decade, and he's not ready to at least step up and give you a timeline. So how long does he want to do this sort of like hang out, just chill, like, yeah, we spend time together and we love each other, but we're not moving towards like these milestones that, while they may not be important to him, and that's fine, and they may not be important to anybody else or everybody, and that's fine, they are important to you. And that is what matters to you. We talk about sort of sometimes centering ourselves and being the first person on our own team. I want you to do that in this case.
Yeah, absolutely agree with that. I don't think it's a good vibe when you've been with someone for so long and they can't even acknowledge the future. It is so normal to me to get together with someone and want to talk about the future if you love them and if you genuinely see a future with them. It just comes so naturally. Like when you're in a loving relationship, it comes so naturally. It's like second nature to be like, oh my God, I can't wait for this step, for this step, for this step. If he is just constantly brushing you off, that is not fair. And I can understand why you're upset about it. Look at me getting heated. That is such an annoying situation to be in. I think it's disrespectful. And I think you should find someone who values your time, values your future, and their future and your future as a couple together, and will just talk to you about it. If he's not even going to talk, he's not going to do actions.
I don't like that he says we don't need to keep having serious conversations. Sorry, you have a life to live and you need to plan it out, and you are serious about your future and your goals and your dreams and your plans. Your partner, your boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, partner, spouse, whatever, is that person that you have those serious conversations with. Maybe not nonstop, but like he could tell you, yeah, I guess in 5 more years I might still want to settle down. In 20 years I want to settle down. I mean, it'd be one thing if he would at least give you a timeline. And I think if he said something that long, I would encourage you to find somebody whose goals are more aligned with your own in the present. I don't like it. I think you need to find someone, as Gabby said, who values your time. Life is short. Time is precious. It just feels disrespectful. Unless there's some kind of context we're not getting here. You need to be able to have serious conversations about the future with your partner. Not every person will want commitment to that level. And that doesn't make them evil or bad, but it may make them incompatible with you, who does want that in the future. And there's nothing wrong with wanting that. There's nothing wrong with not wanting it, but you certainly need to make sure your goals are aligned with your partner's, and y'all's aren't right now.
Yeah, and I don't want you to waste any more time if this isn't something that he wants with you. If he doesn't see his future with you and he's just been a bit of a pussy and not telling you that, I don't want you to waste more time with him. That's time that you could be spending with someone who actually does see those steps with you.
Yeah, I'm looking through the question right now, and you did mention you've been long distance for 4 years. And while I'm sure you guys saw each other as much as you could and spent time together, is it possible you guys just sort of evolved into different people and want different things in life after 4 years in different cities? I don't know, but I think the fact that he's not even willing to have a conversation about it, usually I'm all for like, have one last convo, give him an ultimatum, have one last come to Jesus talk. But I'm kind of just like, end it. It sounds like this has been going on for a while. It sounds like you've had that conversation multiple times before. This is tough. You got to go with your gut. We don't know him. We don't know you too well. But I kind of feel like, find somebody whose goals align with yours.
I'm just seeing red flags in this situation, and I think it's totally okay to leave this relationship for this reason. Like, if you're feeling bad about it, if he's a good partner in every other way, but he just won't talk about the future, and you're kind of feeling bad, like, well, he's a good partner, but he doesn't seem to want to have the same future with me, don't feel bad. That is such a valid thing to want. And if it's important to you to get married, maybe have babies, create more of a family together in that way, then it's important to you, and you are completely valid to leave that relationship and find someone who does want the same things as you.
And I also don't think he's that great of a partner. As this listener said in the ask, they plan all the dates, they do all the investment. That emotional investment and investment of your time, it's worth a lot. And I don't love when it sounds like somebody's not sort of reciprocating that energy.
Yeah, I do think relationships should be equal, if not very close to equal, when it comes to what you do for each other and planning dates and planning nice things. And if you're taking on all of that, it's just not a fair relationship to be in. I think you could find someone better, honestly. I know I don't know this person, but I don't like the sound of them, Cam.
That was an interesting little accent we did there.
I'm feeling frisky tonight.
Oh.
Not frisky in that way. Frisky in like a dumping way.
Well, get yourself one of those Britney Spears t-shirts. This is dump him. And dump him. Yeah? I feel like, have we outright told someone, like, break up with him?
No, this is the first time.
Like, not someone in a relationship. I feel like we are like, well, try this one last thing, or try that one last thing, or, have one more conversation. Just dump him.
Just dump him.
You're allowed. You have our permission to dump him.
Go on.
Go on.
Reach for your phone.
Unless you want to have one. No, I'm just kidding. Dump him.
I agree. Dump him. And we are sending you so much love. You deserve absolutely everything. You deserve to get everything you want out of life.
And you deserve a partner that's going to meet the same energy that you're putting into it. That's gonna put into you and invest in you what you invest in them.
Ain't that the truth?
Absolutely.
Let's move on to the next question. While I am much more independent, my boyfriend is very close to his family. For instance, his mom, dad, and 2 sisters have multiple group chat messages, and they talk all the time, every day, all day. We can't even go out to dinner or to the movies without him texting them. The amount of time we spend with them is more than I'd like, and it's making me resent both my boyfriend and his family. Please help, in capital letters. Okay, this listener needs help.
Okay, let's bring them the help. First, a quick solution. I think you should have a phones policy for certain times in the day. So me and Gabby do this sometimes. Sometimes if we're watching a movie or a show together that we sort of set aside that, like, this is our show that we want to, like, consume and talk with each other about and enjoy together, we put our phones down. We put them away. We put them in a different room. Also similar for, like, date night vibes, like dinner out. Sometimes we don't, but sometimes we do. We're just like, let's put our phones down. So I think this can quickly be solved by having an agreement about technology during certain intimate and special time together. But second, I want to say, listen, I get it. This sounds like he is away that you are not, being so close to this family to the point where they are blowing each other's phones up all day. And while I'm sure it's annoying, I actually think this is really lovely because it shows he is invested in the people he cares about and his family. And that means as his partner, he will be invested in you, or should be. Like, I think it's a really nice thing. Not everybody gets to have a close relationship with their family. Some people have toxic relationships. Some people have, problems in their family that pulls them apart. And some people just aren't close with their family for no special reason, but it just is what it is. But I think it's really nice if people can have like healthy, special connections with their immediate family. I certainly do. I mean, it comes and goes, and some members of my family I get along with better than others. But I think it's a green flag for him. And I hate that it's sort of like, okay, he's doing it too much though. But overall, the vibe, the energy to me is a green flag. I think that's really sweet. Especially like he's a guy and he's close with his sisters. To me, that just shows like he values the women in his life. I'm just getting green flag energy from this. And I think you just need to set some technology boundaries for special times.
I'm completely with you on that. I think it's a green flag. Like the last one was a definite red flag for me, the last listener's question. But this one, I think it's kind of sweet that he texts his family so much. Although I do see how it could be annoying. I think texting or over texting in general when you're with someone in person can be very annoying. But like Cam said, the way to solve that is to have a no phone zone. When you put on a show, when you go and see a film, when you do any of these date night things, just say, okay, let's have no phones right now. He can send his parents and his sisters a little text goodbye for the hour or the couple of hours, and you can spend that time together. And I think that is an easy solve.
Yeah.
I think it's so nice.
Yeah. I think this is a sweet one. Like, obviously, he's maybe doing it a bit too much, but I think it's sweet. He's a loving person. He has a lot of love in his life, and he's just sharing that. And I hope he has the same love for you. I mean, you don't say that he like loves them more than you or prioritizes them over you. It's maybe in some of this texting habits. But I also think this isn't even 100% about his family. Like, we all get on our phones a little too much sometimes. Like, today, we were at the mall, and Taylor Swift just got a new boyfriend, so, like, I've been having to post on my blog a lot about it, and, like, DM with people and get all the gossip and tea and, like, whatever. And Gabby was like, is something going on? And I was like, yeah, Taylor Swift just got a new boyfriend. She was like, oh, yeah, well, okay. But, like, I was just, like, too glued into my phone, and that's not even because of my family or because I'm talking to somebody else. Really, it's like I'm talking to strangers on the internet. But it's just been a crazy time on the internet. But it's like, okay, I needed to put it away and appreciate my last day with Gabby.
Yeah, it can be really annoying when you're with someone and they're on their phone a lot. I really do feel you with that. Obviously, we have very online jobs, but I think your job is maybe more online than me because you do have to sit and answer people quite a lot of the time. And sometimes when you do that, I get a little lonely. I get a little like, meh, where's my attention? I'm here, please. But yeah, I understand that it's your job, and you just need to understand that this is his family. He loves them. He wants to talk to them. That is a green flag in itself. I think that's like very positive for you and your relationship. You just need that time where you put your phones away. And I think that could solve all of your problems. And hopefully he's willing to do that.
Yeah, just have a talk with him about a no phone zone. And I think we should make no phone zone merch.
Ooh, I would love that.
That's a fun little, maybe like a little something, t-shirt, phone with a little circle and line through it kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I kind of like that.
Yeah.
Can I just say as well, there is a spider dangling from its web right in front of me, and the fact that I'm still choosing to sit here and record this podcast is a miracle because I am terrified of spiders and I can just see it in my beady eyes. But I guess that means it's nearly Halloween, which is so exciting.
I don't see a spider.
The spider is right there.
He's outside.
Ooh.
He's literally out of the building.
No, I know. I said he's not in, but I can see him and he's wiggling around and it's really freaking me out. But I'm choosing the Stay-at-Home Girlfriends pod.
Looks like a Black Widow.
Shut up.
No, I don't know.
You absolute bitch.
Well, good luck to you. Have a good chat with him. Let us know how it goes.
Please.
All right, on to the next question. Earlier this year, I visited London on a solo trip. The hostel I was staying in had this really cute American guy. We went on a night out together, and one thing led to another. I thought it was just a one-night thing, but we ended up spending the whole next day together in London until I had to go back to Scotland. We were so sad leaving each other, but exchanged socials and messaged nonstop all day, every day after. He was traveling around Europe with his best friend, and their last stop in the Europe trip was Dublin, so he invited me along. So less than a week after meeting him, I booked flights to Dublin. I'd never met someone like this. It was no games, it just felt honest, and we were both very open about how sexually attracted we were to one another. On the trip, we had an amazing 2 nights in Dublin, getting to know each other. Again, we were so sad leaving each other, but stayed in touch. I had a few holidays to take from work, and Scotland's summer weather isn't amazing. So what did I do? I booked flights to Minnesota to spend 2 weeks with him in August. But a month before I was meant to fly out, he finds out he's gotten into his dream master's program, which meant that on the trip he would have the 3 exams during the time I was there. But he promised to spend evenings and weekends together, and I'm pretty good at solo travel, so I wasn't too worried. But when the trip came around, this didn't exactly happen. The first weekend, I stayed with his best friend. Then in the evenings, sometimes he'd have a study group, and when he was with me, he would be on his phone rather than making the effort to get to know each other. About a week into the trip, I broke down crying because I just couldn't handle how little time we were spending together. He said he'd make more of an effort, and we did go on one date night, and I also spent time with his family at the lake. The other thing was in Dublin, we were very sexually active, whereas in Minnesota, we only had sex twice over the 10 days that I was there, and at night, he wouldn't even cuddle me. I'm a big physical touch person, so this upset me. Overall, the trip to America was amazing, but my connection with him wasn't as strong as it once had been. My dilemma now is we're back to our normal lives and still speaking almost every day, but I just don't see the point as I'm never going to see him again. I am very heartbroken about this because it was 4 months we'd been speaking to each other, but I know if I remove him from social media and no longer speak to him, it puts a damper on those happy memories. I don't know whether he just didn't fancy me anymore or if we were just out of holiday mode and he was stressed with his exams. My friends say I should chuck him because he made me cry, but I think he's a really good person who is just under a lot of academic stress. I've tried to initiate a FaceTime call to chat about the trip, but he's always so busy, so we've just been texting. It's frustrating when he compliments me now after the trip, but barely complimented me, let alone said he was happy while I was there. Help from a very heartbroken gal.
Well, first of all, I'm sorry that this happened. This started out so well. I was like, yay, a little American British romance. I'm so sorry that you went all the way to America and it just wasn't what you'd hoped it would be. My personal opinion is if he's not making the effort now, like you said, he won't even FaceTime you. That is such an easy thing to do, even if you are busy. I mean, sometimes you're just not in the mood to FaceTime someone, but there are plenty of times in a day where you could just hop on for 2 minutes and just show your face. And that well-known phrase, if he wanted to, he would, I think applies here. Even though I don't love that phrase completely, I do think it applies right now. I think if he did really want to move forward with you, he would put in the effort now. And he'd say sorry, first of all, for not being present on your trip. I'm guessing you spent quite a bit of money to get there and was maybe quite a big trip for you and it wasn't what you'd hoped it would be. I would hope that he would apologise for that and just say, look, I'm so sorry. Like, my exams took over my brain. I couldn't be present, but I'm really sorry about that. If he hasn't said sorry and he won't do a FaceTime call with you or anything, I say just take those happy memories that you did have with him and run.
Yeah, so I have a few things I want to say. I agree with everything Gabby just said, but also I feel like it's worth kind of putting a point on this. If you want to do like a long distance between America and the UK or America and like Western Europe vibes, it's totally doable. It's like a 6-hour time difference depending on where you are, maybe 5 hours, maybe like 8 hours. I would guess you guys are 6 hours. I think Minnesota's on my time zone. So you guys are 6 hours apart. You know, it's doable, but it requires like kind of being all in for it to be like a happy, successful hit. Like, we're great, but we both invest a lot of time, money. We have made our relationship a priority because it takes work, right? We live in different countries. We have both sort of, in different ways, moved heaven and earth to be able to spend like most of our time together. And still we don't even get to spend all our time together. Gabby's about to leave and we're going to be apart for maybe a month. It sounds like it was a great first spark, and that's so fun and special, but it didn't sort of follow through into something else. And maybe that's just because of the exams. You know, maybe it's not that like you guys aren't compatible. It sounds like you're very compatible, or the distance is too hard. You know, maybe it was just the timing. It's just a little bad luck with timing. But the problem is, to see each other, it's a big investment in time. It's a big investment in money. And I guess right now, like, the output you sort of got from the America trip wasn't worth the investment to an extent. I mean, like you said, you have the happy memories and you did the solo traveling, which, by the way, I commend you on. That's so cool. And I love you for, like, putting yourself out there. Like, just, yeah, I'll fucking go to Dublin. Let's do it. Like, just meeting a guy and going with that spark. Like, I think you have, like, if I had to guess, like, such a adventurous spirit and such, like, a fun way of approaching life. Like, a lot of people would not do that. A lot of people never even leave their own home country. I had left the country, but I'd never left the continent. I'd never been to Europe or any of that. I'd only ever been in North America until I met Gabby. I commend you for, like, putting yourself out there, making some crazy memories, but at the same time, it doesn't sound like he has anything to invest. You said, I think he's a really good person. Yeah, I'm sure he is a really good person, but not everybody's cut out for, like, long distance. And I think you had a little bad luck with the timing of this America trip, and it just kind of is what it is. But at the same time, you have the great memories. You haven't spent tens of thousands of dollars trying to chase him around or follow him around or meet up with him to these sort of fruitless meetings. Like, you spent a little money, you spent a little time, you made some great memories, you had some great sex, which we salute you. And I think it's just time to move on to the next thing. And maybe you can stay friends with him.
Yeah, long distance is such a big commitment. And if he can't even put in the effort to call you, I don't think that this is going to go to a very positive place in the future, unless he really owns it and he's like, oh my God, I am so sorry. I like you so much. It's just been a really stressful time. Unless he says that to you, I would just take the happy memories. You had an adventure. That's what life is all about. You probably learned some lessons along the way, but you had an adventure. You got to travel in America. That's so exciting. You got to go to Dublin. That's so exciting. It can feel so exciting to meet someone from another country and, like, fantasize what your life would be like together. That is a really cool prospect. But at the end of the day, if you both aren't committed to that, it's not going to work. And I think it would be easier to let it go now. And like Cam said, you could be friends.
Yeah, I think you could just stay casual friends, and, like, who's to say he doesn't rock up to London in 5 years and you guys rock each other's minds for a week. You didn't explicitly say this, but, like, the energy of your question was sort of like, I thought this was more, you know, you were looking for a relationship or just a more intense connection. I want to have a FaceTime call with him to sort of chat about the trip and, like, the ups and the downs of that. And it just felt like you're seeking more than he has to give right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that doesn't make him a bad person. Like, your friend said, he made you cry. Like, maybe, you know, that sounds like it was more of just bad timing, bad luck, and an accident on his part. I don't think we have to demonize him here. It just sounds like he doesn't have the time and energy and effort and money, perhaps, to invest in a long-distance relationship that's beyond some texting. Because that's all he's giving you. Like, sometimes people communicate just the truth to you, and he may have not said that, but his actions are communicating. His truth right now is, I don't have that much to invest in this relationship.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're free to try and talk to him about it, of course. You know me. I'm always saying, have one last convo. But I just think his actions are telling you what you need to know. Yeah. Even if his words aren't 100%. And sorry, you know, this great adventure is maybe sort of wrapping itself up, but I think you have the cool memories. With a spirit like that, you are going to find more adventures and more cool people and more exciting flings and hookups and loves. I just see it for you.
Yeah, it sounds like you're a really cool person. So don't take it personally if this relationship didn't work.
Yeah.
The timing just wasn't right.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the last question. I don't feel comfortable talking to my therapist. We talk about a lot of surface level things and it's cool, but there's a lot more that I need help with. I'm not even out to him. I don't want to get a new therapist because he owns the practice and he'd know I was seeing someone else and that'd be awkward. And this is the only affordable therapy place around here. Everything else is expensive as hell. I don't want to quit therapy because the surface level stuff we talk about does help a little, and I think a little help is better than none. What can I do to be more open and comfortable with him? Can I just say, I don't have a full proper experience with therapy yet. Is something that I personally want to dive into as well this year, and props to you for doing that. But every therapist that I've ever spoken to as a consultation has said, if I'm not the right fit for you, that's okay. We will find someone else. And even if he owns the practice, if you're not feeling comfortable with him, which is what you need to feel to go into deeper issues that you might have and more personal things, I think it's completely okay to try a different therapist. And I think it would just be you that feels awkward about that, because I'm sure he's experienced that before. I think that happens a lot with therapists, and they just kind of become okay with it because it's just part of the job. Like, if you don't click with someone, it's fine. It's nothing personal. It's just like you're not clicking. They're not the kind of person that you need to feel super comfortable with, and that's okay. And they know that, or at least I would hope that they know that.
Yeah, any therapist worth their salt is going to be able to help you through this in a couple different ways. So I see two avenues here. I see you kind of opening up to him and getting a little more frank about your issues and about who you are as a person. Like you mentioned, you're not getting out to him. I could see you doing that. So how could we help you do that? Well, in that case, if you just want to open up to him and be more open about who you are and get to the meat, get to the guts of your issues that you want to work on in therapy, I would say write him a letter where you kind of say, I really enjoy our sessions together. You know, this topic that we talked about, these lighthearted things, topic A, topic B, topic C, whatever. When we covered those, I saw improvements. I felt better about this. But I'm having trouble getting to a deeper level of communication and openness and honesty with you. So I'm going to list out some information I want you to know and maybe a few topics I'd love for you to guide me through working on. Any therapist worth their salt will hear you, will see you, and say, I am here to help. Read that letter with an open mind. There's not going to be any judgment about your sexuality as long as they're a good therapist, which it sounds like they are. It sounds like he is. If he's helping you some, and he owns a practice, he sounds established. Not all therapists are good, and some are even harmful, but this one sounds like a good one. Write him a letter with all these issues, or if you think you could do better talking to a different therapist, perhaps you don't say what your gender is, but if you're a woman, sometimes women have a lot easier time talking to other women. Or if you're a queer person, maybe you'd like to talk to another queer person, something like that. Or just somebody else who just meshes with you better. You can write him a letter asking for help in doing that. And you can say in the letter, it's not personal, it's just not a right fit. And therapists are trained to deal with that. They are trained to not take it personally. And yeah, like Gabby said, I want to commend you for getting into therapy. You already did the hard part, making those first phone calls, going to those first appointments, getting into the routine of therapy. I feel like that's the hard part. Now you just got to sort of dot your I's, cross your T's, and dive into the deeper bits of therapy, either by openness or finding a therapist that you mesh with better.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, you are paying for these sessions. So you do need to be getting out of it what you're paying. And if you just go in there for surface level chat, you can get that with a friend for free, hopefully. If you're paying for this service, you would hope that you would be able to feel comfortable enough with someone to actually go into the things that are really troubling you.
These sort of conflict or these sort of professional conversations can be such a fucking pain and give you so much anxiety and just ugh. It gives me the heebie-jeebies. I get you. But I think write a letter, be gracious, be open, maybe have a trusted friend go through the letter with you and see, maybe get their approval. Does this come off like professional and open and gracious? And kind of get maybe some security that like, okay, my friend thought it was like a good letter. Like, surely it's fine, kind of. But I think you got to communicate, and it sounds like doing it face to face and talking isn't working. Write him a nice letter or send him a text. I don't know, depending. I think writing a letter is always like a good touch.
I think that's the best thing to do in this situation. Whenever I've been in kind of uncomfortable situations like this, it is so much easier to talk to someone not face to face. Even having a phone call with someone and going through something a little bit uncomfortable is difficult. So yeah, I'm with Cam. Write a letter, send a text, send an email, be as nice as you can be. Tell him what you appreciate about your sessions and that it's nothing to do with him. You just want to go deeper. And if he can assist with that, that is amazing and great. But if he can't, I'm sure he will pass you on to someone who you gel better with. And there's no need to feel embarrassed about that, honestly. The first thing that therapists say to me is, if we're not a right fit, it's okay.
Yeah, not only it's his job to assist you with this. Like, you're paying him to help you have these hard conversations and get to these hard conversations. This is part of his job. So if whatever way, smoke signals or waving a flag around or writing a letter or sending a text or leaving a voicemail or writing him a song and performing it to him in his office, however you can get some of the words out about I enjoy our talks, but I want to go deeper and I'm having trouble doing that. There are some things I've been holding back. Can you help me navigate getting that information to you? It's his job to help you with this. So kudos to you for being in therapy. Put those last finishing touches on the sessions and get into those deeper topics. And I think everything's going to be okay.
For sure. And I just want to say well done as well for realizing that you're not getting everything you need and for finding a way to tackle that and for knowing that you need to go deeper and sticking with it. That is a big thing to do. I think, honestly, I would have probably given up. And
well, maybe one version of you would have given up, but maybe the best version of ourselves, we could all get through this.
Yeah, definitely. But just well done for that. I think that's very positive and we're wishing you the best.
Yeah, let us know how it goes.
And that is the end of today's episode. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. I feel like this was more of an upbeat and fun one.
Yeah.
Sometimes we go super deep, but today was more of just a casual little chat.
Yeah, for the most part, I think it was just fun vibes, a little gossip sesh with your friends, talking shit about the annoying people in our lives to an extent.
Hopefully you guys got some good advice from us. Let me know if you did and what you're going to do moving forward if you are one of the listeners who wrote in any of these questions.
And please keep the questions coming. They're great. I go through them every night. I read them all. At some point, probably not all questions will be able to make a pod episode, but right now we're trying to put every single one in a pod episode. So keep them coming. We're going through them all and we appreciate them all.
And remember, if you would like more content from us two, feel free to join the Patreon, The Secret Society. We post extra vlogs that don't make the YouTube channel and extra podcasts that don't make this main podcast feed over on the Patreon.
Yeah, and we're hoping to do a Zoom live call pretty soon here in the future. So watch for that. We'll put up on socials and we might even have to do a poll to see what's the best time for everybody.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. We see where you're from when you join and it's so exciting. You guys are from all around the world, which is so cool. But yeah, we really want to do a live stream for you where you can ask us live questions. We could just have a general chat. That'll be so much fun. You can also follow us on socials. We are at Stay at Home Girlfriends on TikTok and at Stay at Home Girlfriends Pod on Instagram.
And if you want to submit a question for us to answer on the show, you can do so through the link in our bio on Instagram. So, with all that said, everybody, please remember you yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, is worthy of your own love and compassion.
Thanks for listening.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.